I loved her when she was at her lowest. She left me when she shined the brightest. I used to think love meant going through hard times together. But turns out, when she finally stood on her feet, I was the one left behind. This is the story of how I lost the woman I loved the most. We met when neither of us was the best version of ourselves. She, a woman whose eyes always carried a hint of sadness, was struggling with her job and life pressure. I saw in her a reflection of who I used to be years ago. When I battled depression and didn't believe I deserved anything good, I loved her for her honesty and fragility. She wasn't great at hiding her emotions, but always tried to smile so no one would worry. She once told me I was the light that pulled her out of her darkest days. When she broke down from stress at work, I didn't hesitate to take time off, cook for her, comfort her, and take her on short walks around the park near our home. I suggested we go to the gym together, not for her to change her appearance, but to give us a shared goal, something that could make her feel stronger day by day. And we did. On mornings, when she didn't feel like getting up, I'd have her protein shake ready and wait. On evenings when I had late meetings, she'd text, "I'll wait for you so we can go together." I watched her slowly come back to life. The sparkle returned to her eyes. Excitement returned to her voice. I silently thanked the universe for not giving up on her, for letting her still be mine. At least, that's what I believed at the time. Her transformation happened faster than I expected. The gym no longer felt like a chore to her, it became something she enjoyed. Not just for health, but for the confidence and compliments it brought. Friends said she looked radiant. Coworkers took notice, and her social media came alive with selfies, post-workout check-ins, photos she never used to post before. I was still there, quietly proud of her. I thought, she deserves this happiness, but little by little, that happiness began to pull her away from me. She no longer needed me to go to the gym. She said going with her new friends was more fun. The evenings we used to spend watching movies together were replaced by parties, meetups, and gatherings with people I didn't know. I didn't stop her, didn't complain. I believed everyone had the right to enjoy life. But deep down, I felt she no longer saw me the same way. Housework, something we used to share, now fell entirely on me. She was out all the time, came home late, woke up later, and no longer seemed to care about the dinners I carefully cooked. One night, I found her asleep on the couch, her phone still lit up, showing a message from someone named Jay. I didn't open it, but I saw the faint smile on her lips before she drifted off. Then came the night I saw it with my own eyes at a social gathering. She laughed and lightly touched another man's arm. The sparkle in her eyes, the teasing tone, it was a version of her I hadn't seen in years. The kind she once reserved only for me. That night, I said nothing, but inside, a storm had begun. I'm not the jealous type, but that moment made me realize I could no longer pretend everything was okay. I used to be the man who made her laugh like that. Now, I was just a spectator, watching a new version of my wife I no longer recognized. I stayed quiet for a few days, trying to process everything. But eventually, I knew silence wouldn't fix anything. One night, when she came home past midnight, I sat her down and gently said, "I think we need to talk." She didn't refuse, but the tenderness in her eyes was gone. I poured my heart out, how I felt she'd changed, how I felt abandoned, how I missed the times we fought through struggles together. I told her how lonely it felt living together, yet feeling so alone. I didn't blame her. I didn't accuse her. I just wanted her to understand. But her response wasn't empathy. She laughed sarcastically. "Are you insecure because I'm hotter now? I'm not that sad little girl anymore. I don't need saving. I can save myself." I was stunned. This was the same woman who once cried in my arms after a hard day at work, who used to leave me handwritten notes saying thank you for always being there, and now I was the burden. I asked calmly, "So, what do you want? Do you still want this marriage?" She paused, then coldly said, "I don't know anymore. Maybe I chose you when I was at my weakest. Maybe I rushed into this." Those words were the final cut. I didn't beg. I just said, "If that's what you believe, then maybe you're right." From that day on, we lived like strangers under the same roof. And not long after, she left. She left without a goodbye. One weekend morning, I woke up and half the closet was empty. Her favorite dresses, gym shoes, that familiar perfume all gone. On the table, a note. I need to find myself. I'm sorry. I sat there for hours. No anger, no screaming, just a hollow emptiness I couldn't name. The nights we used to share cooking dinner, talking till midnight, were replaced by the hum of the fridge and the glow of the bedroom lamp. I didn't reach out, didn't call, didn't text. Part pride, part understanding. If she truly wanted me, she wouldn't have left like that. My life slowly moved on in silence. I worked, came home, sometimes stared at old photos like they belonged to another lifetime. Then the divorce papers came. She was the one who filed. My lawyer spoke in a neutral tone. It's straightforward. No kids, separate finances, should be finalized in one session. I nodded. No questions. No resistance, just a deep sense of disappointment, not because she filed, but because even the end came so cold and effortless. My family didn't pry. They'd seen enough. My mom just said, "You did all you could." Jack, my dad, a man of few words, gave me a firm pat on the back. No need for comfort. That silent gesture said everything. I started to accept it. She'd chosen her path, and though I still cared, I no longer had the faith to walk back toward her. Love can't hold someone who doesn't want to stay. I thought that was the end. I mentally prepared for the court date not as a battle, but as the quiet closing of a chapter. I imagined we'd sign, part ways without a word, and return to our separate lives like two strangers who once shared a season. But a week before the hearing, my phone rang in the middle of the night. It was her Emily. I barely recognized her voice. It was shaky, tearful. She cried, not from anger, not from pride, real, broken crying, like the first time I held her in the hospital years ago, when her world fell apart. She said, "I messed up, Jack. I lost myself. I got swept up in shallow things, and only when you weren't there did I realize what I lost." I stayed silent for a long time, not because I didn't care, but because I wasn't sure if I had anything left to give. Love, I gave it all long ago. Patience, I used every ounce trying to keep us together. Trust, it shattered the day she walked out without a word. I asked, "Why now, after all these months?" She choked out, "Because you were the only one who ever loved me without needing me to be perfect. I lost the most precious thing in my life, and I didn't see it until it was gone." I wasn't angry. I didn't hate her. But all I felt was disappointment, not because she came back, but because she waited until it was all over to realize what we had. I told her softly, "You're too late. We're no longer us." After that night, she kept calling, texting her parents too. The same people who were shocked by the divorce now begged me to reconsider. But I had made my decision, not out of bitterness, but because I understood now. Real love should never require regret to exist. Since that call, Emily didn't stop. She messaged every day apologies, dreams of us, long letters about how sorry she was. Sometimes just a line. "I dreamed about us again today." Sometimes photos of places we once visited, captioned, "I wish I realized sooner." I read them, but I didn't reply. Not because I felt nothing, but because I knew replying would pull us back into that same cycle, me trying to fix things, and her leaving the moment life looked shinier elsewhere. One afternoon, as I sat alone in our old favorite coffee shop, her mom walked in. She didn't scold me, didn't ask why I couldn't forgive. She just looked at me, eyes filled with sorrow, and said, "You're a good man. You loved her when she had nothing. She knows it now, but it's too late, isn't it?" I nodded. No words needed. The divorce hearing went as expected. She came, sitting a few feet away, eyes puffy and red. The lawyers spoke. We signed. It was over in less than an hour. As we walked out, she looked at me one last time and asked, "If one day I truly change, will you still have a place for me?" I looked at her, the woman who once meant the world to me, and answered gently, but firmly, "I don't know who you'll be in the future, but the man you left behind, he's not here anymore." I turned and walked away. I didn't look back. Since that day, she hasn't messaged me again. Maybe she finally understood. Maybe she truly let go. But for me, the story has ended, not in hatred, but in this lesson. Never lose the one who loved you most, just because you thought they'd never leave.